You want to get your hands dirty? Well, I can get my hands dirtier. Only difference is I know how to get away with it. You don't.
How's it going today, everybody? We have one of the most action-packed Cyrax videos we have ever had on this channel. I mean, he actually does stuff. It's not even just because the amount of things that have happened to the dude here recently, which, let me tell you, it's a lot. The video's long for a reason, but the things that he gets up to during it. You know, the guy has really took a step up from where he was last year. He's went from never leaving the house at all because he can't go hang out with Security Jake anymore, and he really hasn't found any friends with a car to replace him or who are actually real, so he just had to hang out in the attic for like, I would say 2 years, to be honest with you guys. He's been real busy playing Fortnite. Well, that was until he was a little bored. He bricked his Xbox again, and yes, he bricked his Xbox again. At this point, I don't think there can be a homeless saga. The amount of bricks in his room could probably build a house, or at least he's getting there. It would be the first house entirely built out of Microsoft Xboxes, but I mean, it's better than the options that he's going to have if the homeless saga happens anytime soon, or whenever it does happen, because in his boredom and in his desperate attempt to finally meet his girlfriend, Rax did the absolute unthinkable. He decided to play a role in a movie, not the normal horror one that he could actually get a job in if he was like a, you know, a mildly decent human being. No, it was like a remake of Homeward Bound, except with far less likable characters, and it was a solo act. It was just Rax out on his own, adventuring to the mall. He actually got into an Uber, and we're going to talk about that more later in the video, but can you believe that poor Uber? He definitely didn't think that was the guy walking up to him. He thought Ashton Kutcher came out of retirement. He thought he was getting punked. He's like, when did I become a celebrity? Oh, no, this is real. This is real, okay? So this guy takes Cyrax to the mall, and what does Cyrax do? Embarrass himself in front of the entire mall. He's literally running around there, begging everybody for a phone charger, going to the security guards, asking if he could run their security cameras back to look for his girlfriend. And after he finally gives up, or, well, I'm not going to spoil too much, but he didn't give up willingly. He went to go look for Cassandra because things were looking a little rough for the both of them. And in the midst of all of that, Cyrax somehow manages to tumble down a hill right in front of a cop. The cop obviously thinks he's on some substances or something, and it was like, hey, young man, will you come here? And in all honesty, you probably thought he was having some kind of nightmare again. He's like, oh no, is that Cyrax? No, I am not at that house. I am dreaming. Oh, no, he's coming towards me. It's real. All right, I'm not hallucinating. That is Cyrax. What is he doing out here? And the cop gives Cyrax $5 and says, all right, we're going to get you to the bus stop. The cop definitely thought if he didn't help Cyrax all the way there, he wasn't going to make it. He was going to get lost somewhere along the line. And you know what? He was probably right. But before all of that, we got to start at the very beginning, when Cyrax thought he was in love, right before he was about to go visit Cassandra.
I am making this official statement right here and now. As co-owner of Beautiful Trauma Inc., to William Glory Hole, aka the owner of WMFG, whatever, you need to listen to what I am saying very carefully. I know that Cassandra sold you her half of our company. I already know that she did that. Now, how she did it, I don't know. But I am going to say this, that legally, you have to either sell me back the other 50%, or I am willing to sell you my 50%. Because I do not want to be associated with you or WMFG, whatever. I want nothing to do with any of that. And by me stating this, you legally are obligated to either hand back over the 50% to me, or if you want to, I am willing to sell you my 50%. I am willing to sell you my 50% for a price. And it's not going to be no little $5. No, it's going to be a high price. And you are going to pay it if I sell it to you. because I want nothing to do with WMFG Records, WMFG Studios, anything to do with the three of you, I want nothing to do with. And I'm willing to sell you my 50%, but it's not going to come cheap. But it will come with a bonus. And that bonus is this. If, and I'm doing if, I were to sell you my 50%, you would get the rights to the logo, you would get the rights to the company itself, my name would no longer be attached to it, but you would also get certain things with that as a bonus. Like, I would hand you over, the channel that me and Cassandra used to run, where there's a lot of content on there that's unreleased. So you would not only be walking away with my company, you'd be walking away with my channel itself that I started, email and everything, clean and clear. But I, Chance Wilkins, the main founder of Beautiful Trauma Inc., I want nothing more to do with William Glory Hole. I want nothing more to do with Southern or John. I am willing to sell you my half of the company because I know you guys make money. I'm willing to sell you my half of the company for $25,000. You give me that 25 grand and it's yours clean and clear. All you would have to do is send me your email and I could transfer everything over. Or I simply buy out your half of the company. Because I am 50% co-owner, therefore I have the right to do that.
It's so funny when Cyrax is in the middle of a saga, and in the middle of it, he believes that he's got it all figured out, and he's going to flip this around on William, John, whoever the heck is doing it at the time, and he comes on stream. He probably has like a Jimmy Neutron brain blast. He starts screaming at Sally and Ed, "Mom, Dad, I figured it out this time." And they're like, "What, a job application?" He's like, "No. How dare you? This is to help our family, something important. I'm going to get $25K off of John and William. See you later, Mom. I'm about to get $25,000, buy a mansion and a car, and I'm going to be out of here, so I hope you forget about me. I'll forget about you." Then he storms upstairs. Sally and Ed realizes he's not going to go anywhere, and he gets on camera and pulls a stunt like this. You can tell he's put very little thought into this. He's like, okay, I'm going to ask William something, and it's something he cannot refuse. What can I offer him? Well, if we both own 50% of this channel, and it's so funny that Cyrax still trusted Cassandra after all of this, but he's like, all right, if I own 50% and he owns 50%, if I have like the childlike rules, I just demand that he has to accept my offer of buying my half for $25,000. And Cyrax is like, and hey, now, don't get it twisted, William. It's not only you buying my half of the company, but you get my YouTube channel that's going to go down as soon as you start uploading videos, and the market value isn't that great. I seriously doubt it's a monetized channel at all, so it's unmonetized videos, and you just get them. Like, they're going to come out no matter what because Cyrax sent them to somebody and someone sent them to someone else, and then, we're going to see them eventually, and even if we don't, they're probably not that worth it. It's probably Cyrax sitting in silence, giggling at anything Cassandra has to say, just hoping he could somehow eventually see her, which those hopes got fulfilled and completely crushed here soon, but that's besides the point. Everything Cyrax has just offered William is worthless, because not only is this his self-evaluation of his company that has not earned a single dollar, so I don't know how it's worth $25K, but I don't think Cyrax understands that they are like at the same level of ownership. If you offer him something, he can just refuse and deny. The best you could get is like selling your side of the company to someone else, or obviously him buying you out, something like that, but you're not just going to get him to fold immediately. You can't do that. That makes no business sense. And obviously, guys, it's like, It's a valueless company, but this is Cyrax math we're doing right now. This is the same guy who has valued the company at 25K, and in the same breath, like shortly after he said that, I was like, all right, William, I thought of something else. I'll buy the company back from you. I'm going to buy your 50% if you don't like this deal. And it's like, wait a second, Cyrax. You don't have $25,000. If that's what it's worth, then you should be paying William 25K. I would like to see if, like, confronted with this reality, how Cyrax would try to spin it. I've been working for you for 6 years, William. I've earned you far more than 25K. I've earned you millions of dollars. That's why you can live in those fancy mansions that I can't afford. Since he's not afraid of Ubers anymore, I could see him trying to go get another loan on Sally's house until he figures out he's renting.
You guys have 24 hours to respond. Because if you do not, I will consider that a breach, as you did not give me a response. So legally, you are bounded to give me a response within the next 24 hours. By video. Not no live stream, not any of that, but a video of all three of you together, or however you want to do it. You have to make a video like I'm doing now. You guys may have invented the game playing dirty, but motherfucker, I perfected it. And to Cassandra, I'm sure you're gonna see this. I don't know what the f they put in your goddamn head, but I'm not cheating on you. All that shit they're sending you is false. And I know you're seeing this too, Cassandra. I know you see it. My question to you, Cassandra, is this. Why are you being so blind to the truth? I mean, I spend every waking minute with you. I spend time with you when you're at work. You text me whenever you can. And then I spend time with you when you get home. So how can I possibly cheat? We literally spend every waking minute together. So how can I possibly cheat? Like, seriously. How? When you're asleep, I'm asleep. When you're awake, I'm awake. When you're at work, I'm texting you. Make that make sense, Cassandra. Think about it. How can I be cheating on you when we spend every waking minute together? How? Make that make sense. Oh, and Cassandra, I didn't want to go this route. I really didn't. But I am going to tell you this right here and now, that you need to get a hold of me. You gave away your portion of mine and yours company to a bunch of trolls that are out to use people.
Cyrax's rage is so endless. Most people can, like, just get a little angry every now and then and vent very quickly and it'd be over with. Cyrax can go on for hours and hours and hours, because after he almost pulled another now on William, but he gave up like halfway through it and he's like, all right, just calm down. We gotta save the real rage for Cassandra because she's the one who's really upset me at this time. William, I'm used to him doing this, but Cassandra, the girl I've known for a couple of months, if that, the girl I'm deeply in love with, going to marry for some reason, yeah, her. I mean, it's not like she doesn't seem annoyed, barely respond to anything I ever say, look uncomfortable while I'm around her. That doesn't mean anything. We're gonna get over that. In fact, that's how most people are around Cyrax, so he probably didn't find that too abnormal. Even when she's getting involved with his trolls, and you would think, like, if it was an actual loving relationship, one of the main things they would do is separate Cyrax from the trolls as best as they possibly could. Make sure that he can have no communication with them, because they would immediately be able to tell this is where a lot of his problems stem from. The fact that he's in this never-ending battle that he has no chance of winning whatsoever. They would get him away from that. And if you actually cared about them, you wouldn't introduce them to the trolls and as like a trophy and be like, look, I now have a girlfriend. Now I know this isn't the smartest decision in the world, but I got a girlfriend. I just want you guys to know. Now do as you will. Like, you obviously don't care about her that much. Like, let's be for real here. She's far more of a symbol for you than anything else. Because we truly know the only thing you care about in this world is one-upping the trolls and continuing to have these panel discussions so you have someone to talk to. It doesn't even matter if you have a girlfriend that you're bugging 24/7. You like to get your hands dirty, as you say, Cyrax. But wait a second. Aren't you the perpetual victim? Aren't you like the one having to deal with all of this? You don't bring it on yourself at all, right? I mean, if you was like just an innocent bystander and you didn't do a thing and people were doing this, like, you would have like a good case against them. I don't know, like a legal case, but like a morality case. So like the internet could rally around you. But no, Cyrax, you know you do a lot of dirt. So you got to get your hands dirty. You got to try to one up them, because the amount of stuff they have on you is like absolutely horrendous. It's like lifelong stuff that sticks to your name that you cannot defeat, but you gotta try somehow. And you thought Cassandra was one of those people who was going to attempt to help you, but what did she do? She sold half of your company. I mean, like, you know, quote unquote sold. And the one thing you do is like, all right, now you gotta call me and explain yourself. He doesn't even stop trusting her after this. They continue the relationship. You'd think that would be like a huge glaring red flag, but no. Cyrax just said, nah, forget about it. He was the reverse Doctor Strange. He's seen a million good options, but took the one bad option for some reason.
So I'm telling you right now, Cassandra, if you do not get a hold of me and sit down and actually have a conversation with me face to face, and besides, it's only fair after what you did to me. After you sat there and gave away the company that I built for me and you, so that you wouldn't have to worry about having money for the rest of your life. I did that for you. I built that company for you and for us. I built that for us. I go up on panel and I defend you multiple times. Even though my gut told me not to, I still went out there regardless, and I fought. And I did that for you. I did that for you, Cassandra. I did that for you. Went out of my way, bent over backwards for you. When everyone else said you were a troll, I took up for you. When everyone else said that you weren't nothing but a troll, whenever everyone else, all of our friends, said that you were a troll, I stood up for you. I took up for you and told them, no, you're not one. Me and the rest of the guys, we showed you the mother proof on Facebook. We showed you they were playing you for a... What? No. They played you for a fool, Cassandra. Because let me tell you, Cassandra, I told you shit that I never even told my own family members. Shit, I never even told my closest friends. People that I grew up with. People that I know my entire life since 3rd grade. Yet I chose to tell you. I could have anybody out here I wanted because of my namesake. Because of who I am. But yet I chose to be with you. I could have any girl that I wanted. Do you know how many people, how many girls would have lined up to be with me right now? How many girls I have in my inbox wanting to actually wanting me to give them a chance? Quite a bit. But you want to know something? I chose you over all of them. because I saw something in you that I didn't see in them. I saw somebody who was honest, who was decent, who was a kind-hearted soul at heart.
That last segment you guys just watched might have been some of the craziest stuff Cyrax has ever spouted in desperation. You know he's just pulling anything he possibly can to make Cassandra come back. Yep, that business, it's doing really well. It's going to be a lifelong earner for you. Could you imagine, guys, if your significant other came to you right now and was like, I just had this brilliant idea. You know those things that I'm not very good at, that I have a lot more to learn from, so I could actually be talented at it? Well, I've actually invested all of our savings into this, and it's going to be our lifelong starter company. You know, this is going to support our grandchildren, honey. You know, we're going to do really well. And then you're like, you know, divorce, you know, I really didn't think I'd ever want it, but it's starting to seem like a better option here. Now, just imagine if they did that before you even got married. They approached you with this. You would be running for the hills almost immediately. That's not going to earn you anything, and that person has to be insane. And luckily for Cyrax, there's no chance of insanity. Of course there's thousands of girls in his email. Like, he's hitting up girls every single day. You know, we thought he stayed locked up in the attic because he didn't want to see anybody. It's like, no, he can't go out there anymore. It's like a rock star is walking around there. I thought the protests with AOM was because people didn't like him. No, it's just the girls were coming for Cyrax. He had to get out of there soon. That was a protest of all the other guys on the street. Like, nah, get this man back inside. We can't allow him out here, or none of us will ever have a chance. But unfortunately for them, they wasn't around when Cyrax finally went to the mall. Ladies of Ohio, basically anywhere in the world, you know, you can probably feel it now. Cyrax is out and about, and you know, he's looking again. And please, ladies, don't be sad if you don't catch Cyrax. There's a lot of people out in this world, and they'll probably get to him first. We can't all be so lucky. I mean, good luck, you know, best of luck to you. And don't worry, he's gonna make the right choice. Cyrax really knows how to pick them. Did you hear like the things he listed off that was Cassandra's good qualities? Honest, forgiving, a good person, which all of those ended up not being very true. like none of them. Cassandra was playing in the entire time. Even Cyrax's buddy troll friends, who probably didn't want to give it up, they probably wanted a couple laughs out of this as well. It got so obvious, even they were pointing it out. Yeah, but let's be for real, they were probably just trying to ruin everything.
No, you didn't just hurt me. You hurt Mom, who saw you as a daughter. Ed, who saw you as a daughter. All my friends who saw you as family. Mom took you in as her daughter. Ed took you in as his stepdaughter. And me, I took you in as my fiance, my soon-to-be wife. And I said that I have told you so many times that I considered you my wife. Even though we aren't officially married, I always considered you my wife, and I treated you as such. I treated you with the utmost love and respect that I've ever shown anyone. I wish that you would just come back and pull me out of that dark place and have a conversation with me and work things out. And tell me what exactly is going on. But we all know you can't do that. We all know that William and them can't have you slipping out, can they? Right now, you're their golden child. You know, my mom, the one that was supposed to be your mother-in-law, I can't even begin to tell you how hurt she is by what you've done. She is destroyed because she loved you just as much as I do. She saw you as her daughter. Damn it. She saw you as her daughter. So you not only spit in my face when you left, you spit in hers as well. Mom loved you to death, Cassandra. She really did. She loved you to death. She thought the world of you. Just like I did and do. I did so much for you. I sacrificed everything for you. I sacrificed a normal life for you. I said, okay, let's jump back on board. I hope that one day when you see this, when you get older, I hope that you look across the bed at where I should be. Because that empty spot that you're going to see in your bed, that spot is where I should be. But instead of me being there, you're going to be alone. And that's what's sad. That's what's truly sad.
So let me get this straight. Sally, the person who hasn't met this girl a single time, who has probably never been in a real conversation with her, except when Cyrax handed his mom the phone like, look mom, this is gonna be my future wife. This is gonna be your daughter-in-law. Aren't you proud of me? And Sally probably got her confused. She probably thought this was the person who gave Cyrax the Xbox, and she was like, oh, finally, someone gonna get him off of my hands. Sally probably spends extra time in her day going to adoption centers, listing off all the things describing Cyrax, and they're like, the people at the adoption center, they're probably really interested. They're like, we're going to give this kid a good home eventually. It'll probably take a while with those behavior issues, but we're going to try. Until Sally mentions that they're 35 and Ed is somewhere in the building stealing something, so they just call security and get him out of there. Like, that's most likely what's happening. Sally doesn't know her at all. And Sally and Ed, they've got to be veterans of this at this point. Like, they just gotta be. I remember back in the early days, yeah, they would be believing some of the trolls and stuff, but it's hard to get something past them now. One thing they normally won't be convinced of so easily is Cyrax actually getting a girlfriend. Like, she's gotta show up in person. She's gotta give Cyrax some money, something of value for them to truly believe it. I mean, that's more likely than him getting a job application, but it's really far out there for them and all of us, to be for real. Like, so I don't believe she thought very much of Cassandra at all. She was probably just like saying, just grunting at Cyrax whenever he'd mention her. The only person convinced of this is Cyrax, and it's hilarious to think that Cyrax actually thinks Cassandra is going to be alone. She's not alone right now. I'm pretty sure she has a boyfriend that does YouTube videos about Cyrax. It's like one of the main reasons she was so dedicated to this. Like, her boyfriend was just like, hey, just keep on. I know this sucks, but you know, come on, Cassandra. Come on, you're doing me a solid right here. And he owes her like 1,000,000 life debts for what she had to go through. But Cyrax could know all of that, and it wouldn't even stop his main character syndrome from coming right through. Like, oh yeah, you will never be with someone besides me. Like, I'm the best thing that you could possibly get. It's Cyrax, you don't even try for a job. You live with Sally. Like, you can't even go to the mall by yourself. You are a 35-year-old man who can't be trusted to go to the mall. It took Sally an hour to file a missing persons report on you. She didn't come looking, but she filed a missing persons report because he's like, well, I'm so unbothered by this that I can't go looking for him, but I know he's probably in some kind of trouble. I'm just going to put this out there.
John, I tried to save you. I tried to save you from going to prison. But now, I tried to save you from the Nightstalkers, man. I tried to save you. That deal that they made is unfair to me. I'm not getting a job. Why should I have to get a job when that's my business? You guys stole from me. You stole from Cassandra. You stole from my people. And like I said, John, you think you know what dangerous is. You haven't met dangerous. The Nightstalkers are coming for you, and I can't stop it. They're not in my control. They aren't in my control, man. They do their own. The Nightstalkers, they are their own entity. I don't think you understand the level that these guys operate on. See, here's the thing, John and William and Southern. You want to know how me and my team, the real Nightstalkers, know how you've been laundering money? Let me tell you why. Kind of strange that after the money with Marty went out after he, all of a sudden you guys still have money coming in all this time. Which means you guys are using the Morbid Curiosity channel to launder the money. You guys are trying to pull an Al Capone. And you know what that's going to come with? Life in prison. RICO Act. RICO charges. I'm going to give you until 10 o'clock tonight to hand back over what is rightfully mine. Otherwise, my team is going to let the auditor know that they have full-fledged proof of you guys laundering money, because we have undeniable proof of you guys laundering money. So if you guys do not hand over the company to me and leave me and Cassandra alone for the rest of our lives, and do not make any more videos on us, if you leave us alone, you're good. The auditor will be coming down on you, and RICO charges will be enacted on top of everything else. And I don't want to be the bad guy here, but I have to be in this one. I have to be that guy, because I am protecting my brand, my business, my company, what is rightfully mine, and my fiance's. Because we already have enough evidence to where we could lock all three of you guys up for the rest of your lives. We have more than enough evidence to do it. So be ready by 8 o'clock.
So did you guys notice Cyrax's extreme mood shifts during these videos? Well, you know, that's not normally uncommon for Cyrax. Rax will like flip moods between like videos, whether it's like a couple of days, maybe just a week, or just like a few minutes. He can be angry, sad Rax, but he was very much sad Rax for the beginning of this video, and now it flipped to ego Rax, and for like one of the very few times it's actually important. During the middle of this saga, Cyrax ran into some people. I can't remember exactly who it was. I believe his name was Jason something, and they started talking, and somehow Cyrax began to believe he was a part of some conspiracy theory, something called the Nightstalkers. He was a part of a very dangerous group now. He got involved with this some way or another, and now he's going to take on the trolls. And the Nightstalkers, they're just full of information. If you thought Cyrax was dangerous before, John, all of that stuff he's brought upon you, it's not like it's been a very one-sided battle so far. Not at all. It was only going to get worse, because now Cyrax had top men on his side. Top men, and they're not going to let him down. No, not at all. They're totally not going to convince him to go to this mall. Like, it's not going to happen. Well, at least not yet. You know, at first they're going to make him believe that John is going to go to prison for his entire life. You know, Cyrax has finally caught John on something. He's been begging, he's been pleading every buddy troll that he could possibly think of to get some information on John, and someone just came along and was like, yeah, John, I don't know, but I think we can put John in jail for the rest of his life. And Cyrax was like, we got him, boys. Put the cuffs on him, basically. And then they hit Cyrax with something even better. They're like, all right, listen to this, Cyrax. You know John's other channel, Morbid Curiosity? Well, they're money laundering through it. Yep, all of John's income he earned on his own. Yeah, well, that was actually for William and Southern. It's not like John could give it to them willingly if he's ever gave them money at all. I have no idea. But, you know, he's allowed to give other people his money, his donations. And Cyrax is completely pretending he doesn't know that William and Southern have, like, been going live on Rumble. And I assume they've been receiving donations and stuff like that, you know. It's not some crazy idea. He brings stuff up like this all the time. He thinks everyone is a millionaire who covers him. But now, for some reason, John is money laundering through his channel. It's like, you have no idea how the world works. You're allowed to earn your own income and do a separate channel on YouTube about an entirely different topic if you want, Cyrax. It's not wrong in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, you f***ed up. Oh, you f***ed up. Oh, William. John Southern. You thought I was playing before. Breaking my Xbox. Intercepting a package. You do realize that's a federal offense, boys. You don't know what you just done. Now you're not just dealing with Nightstalkers. You're dealing with power far beyond what the Nightstalkers are capable of. And trust me when I say it, boys. You just unleashed a force so unimaginable that when you meet this force, you will be running in fear. I can promise you that. Oh, you f***ing think. You mother think you won. Oh, my dear. Oh, no. The battle has only begun. You have now unleashed the monster that you should fear.
When Cyrax opens this segment up, you can't really tell if he's crying or laughing. Maybe he's waiting on Sally to come change him. You know, it's a very ambiguous beginning to this. But eventually you realize he's just maniacally laughing like the off-brand Joker that he is. You can definitely tell that's the persona that he's trying to play up right now. And it's working pretty well. You know, he's really giving off those crazy vibes. And then you suddenly realize when he actually starts talking, it's because he bricked his Xbox again. How many is it at this point? It's like a recurring theme. Have you ever been watching a show and you're like, I know it's about to come up because this is just an ongoing gag, and every now and then they spice it up just a little bit and you're like, it got me again. I didn't think they would do it, but they got me again. This was that exact thing right now. Cyrax was just losing his mind. He literally did like the kid thing. When you get the better on somebody on the playground, they're like, oh man, you came up with ninjas over my cowboys? I don't think my cowboys can defeat ninjas. All right, well, I got aliens. Alien technology now. You know, the Nightstalkers is apparently the strongest he's ever been. You know, he got with this group and he got power. Real power. But now, since the Xbox is bricked, he somehow got even more power? Is it his rage, his unstoppable fury he's going to unleash now? I think that's what he's implying, but I also kind of think he's implying that he's now a part of an even stronger group for some reason. In this one, you really don't want to mess with the very scary people Cyrax got involved with after his Xbox got bricked. Right before his massive tragedy, the Xbox was bricked. He just got initiated in the Third Row Saints, guys. Come on, he's affiliated now. We better watch ourselves.
Matt, Matt, do you still have mom on your Facebook, brother?
I don't know. Oh, shit. What was her name? Chance.
Yeah.
What is her name?
Sally.
So basically, she just didn't show up there because of what the happened then, right?
Yeah.
So basically, it was something happened to her. It has nothing to do with you. Something happened to where she got intercepted somehow.
It was because the video is of her and is her just getting out of a car.
All right.
God, I hope
Excuse me, sir. Do you have a way that I can charge my phone really quickly? Because I need to keep my phone on because there's an emergency going on and I need to get home.
Yeah. Explain the situation. It might be
there any way that I can charge my phone? Because I have no charger, nothing.
You can buy a cable and then it's
It's an emergency.
See if you can find a McDonald's.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, I'm gonna go do some research.
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it. Real.
So I ended up getting ready that morning. And then somebody who I thought was a friend hooked me up with an Uber and got me out there to the mall where I was supposed to meet her. When I got there, my phone was almost dead. So I hurried up and I got to a kiosk and I plugged my phone in thanks to one of the people that was lending me a charger there. I didn't see her there. And I figured, like, all right, maybe she's a little bit late. Maybe she got, stuck, wherever. So I go to call my friends that I've known for pretty much my entire life. Friends that I know I can call for anything if something's going on. And these are people that I actually know in real life, that I've grown up with, that I know personally. So I called them up. Because see, what people don't realize, or didn't realize at that time, that there was something darker going on behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, this internet troll by the name of John had been Cassandra. When I looked at the video footage that I was shown, it showed that the love of my life, Cassandra, had been by one of John's people. I started freaking out. I started getting scared and worried. So I started looking around the mall for security, for police, for anybody that I could to try to help. Because I knew that we had to find her when all of it happened. So I started asking security to start pulling up footage if they could, and unfortunately they couldn't do it. So I left them all looking for answers. And thank God there was a police officer right across the street. I go down the hill to get across the street to talk to the police officer. And bear in mind, this was a steep hill. It was about maybe like that right there. It was almost like a degree incline. I go down the hill. My phone flies out of my pocket. I lose my phone somewhere in the deeps. Broken.
Yeah, guys, you saw that correctly. Cyrax was out in the public. I know, that just seems like something that doesn't belong. Like, it just seems out of place in this universe. But he was out there interacting with people, and it had to be mind-blowing for just the people walking around the mall to have an interaction with Cyrax, whether they're just looking at him running around in place, screaming into his phone. It had to be a very odd sight for everybody involved, especially the people he was running up to. The security guards have never had such a hard time keeping composure, I guarantee you. And I bet it's been a long time since someone walked up to him and been like, hey, listen, you have got to run the security cameras back because I have lost my girlfriend. I mean, I've never met her in real life. It's been 7 long years, good sir, of me having a bunch of misery at hand, and I'm finally having something good. No, just sit there. I'm going to tell you my whole story, and then when he gets to the end of it, the security guards are probably passed out. He could have walked in there if he knew how to operate it, but he had to nudge him awake and be like, hey, can we get those tapes? And like, no, man, I told you this 20 minutes ago before you started the story, and nothing has changed about it, and please stop crying, sir, and try to find your girlfriend. So that's what Cyrax goes on to do, and he starts walking down a hill. And it's the most Cyrax thing he could have possibly done. He's literally spent like the last hour searching for his girlfriend that he couldn't find, making the worker's life at the mall just a little bit harder. And you know what? He wasn't even trying to get some job applications. Cyrax, if you're out there in the public in the mall, why not apply to some jobs? I mean, you're not going to get them. As soon as the hiring manager is asking some of the employees, like, hey, did you see this guy? And they're like, no. Listen to what was going on yesterday. And unfortunately for them, they don't even get the best part of the story when he's walking down the hill and somehow slips and slides all the way down it, losing his phone in the process. It's like literally such a shame that there's only like 4 or 5 minutes of the mall footage out there. It could have been so much better, but hey, we actually got Cyrax out in the public and it went about as well as you'd imagine. And out of all the things that he could have slid into, there was a police officer at the bottom of the hill. I know being a police officer leads to a lot of random wacky encounters, but random Cyraxes flying out of the air all of a sudden isn't something I would expect.
As I was sliding down this huge hill, and it was a good several feet. It was at least a couple hundred feet down. As I'm sliding, for just the briefest of minutes, I blacked out. And it wasn't like, oh, I blacked out and like passed out. No, it was like one of those things where it's like, like what the kind of things. Like, you black out for just a brief second. But in that brief second, something happened for what felt like at least 5 minutes. This is it for me. I heard God telling me that your story's not over. Your story has just begun. And when I came back to, I was leaned back against the snow, reclined back as if you would in a recliner like this. I get up, I brush the snow off my pants, off my body. I see this officer that had just seen what happened was running over to me. So I got up, I walked over to him. He asked me if I was okay. I told him, yeah, I think I'm okay. Like, I'm not injured or anything. We checked I lifted my shirt up, checked my legs. Everything was good. I had no injuries. He asked me my name. I told him my name, handed him my ID. And this officer did something amazing. This officer unknowingly put me in the path of 2 people that I will never forget for the rest of my life. This officer, when I was telling him what was going on, he couldn't believe it. Until I showed him the videos on YouTube and everything that had happened. And he knew. He was like, we need to get you home, buddy. He's like, we need to get you home. You need to find your girl and we need to get you home so you can find her. And so this officer gave me $5 to get me to the bus station. And so this woman and her husband, they approached me wondering if I was the same person. They asked me, they're like, hey, are you Cyrax? Are you Chance? And I was like, yeah, that's me. And they introduced themselves and they're like, we're here to take you home. They said, we saw what happened. What these evil people did to you was wrong. Well, the husband took something out of his pocket and said, hey, I got a gift for you. He's like, I don't know why, but I feel like you're meant to have this. I don't know why, but something's telling me to give this to you. And so the man reached into his pocket and pulled this out and gave it to me. He said, I don't know why, but I feel like I'm meant to give this to you, to be yours. And so I get home, I immediately fall to the floor, thinking the entire time that Cassandra had been. I was scared. I was worried. I passed out for a couple minutes because I just ran 1.5 miles from my house in the freezing cold weather. Hold on, y'all. 1 second. Hang on. Alright. Hold on, y'all. 1 second. And when I came to, my mom asked me why I was crying, what's going on. And I told her what had happened. and we needed to find help. Because I thought something was going on that I did not know was a setup. So I immediately got up out of the bed and I came rushing upstairs. I told Mom, I was like, I need to call my friends. This woman that I was supposed to marry, the woman that I was supposed to marry at the end of this year, was in on the entire thing and was a troll. Her was fake. It was all staged with her and John and everybody else. Needless to say, I didn't want to believe it at first. I kept on making every excuse in the book. And let me tell you, when I saw the evidence, my stomach dropped. I literally got sick to my stomach because here was this woman that I was supposed to spend the rest of my life with. The woman that I had just proposed to a couple days prior and was prepared to start a life with, who was now working with them. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, hearing. The screenshots, the photos, the videos. I didn't want to believe it. And I kept coming up with every excuse in my head as to like, maybe this is AI.
Only Cyraxx could fall down a hill and make such a dramatic story about it. You know he was thinking of this story the entire bus ride home. He was like, okay, I'm going to be able to not work for 5 more years. Yep, this is how bad I'm going to make this excuse for Sally. All right, 5 more years of no work and all play. That's what Cyraxx likes. And he made it seem just about as bad as possible. The hill is at almost a 90-degree angle. You're basically looking right down a very steep fall for Cyraxx. How he managed to overlook it is absolutely an anomaly at this point. If that's how steep the decline is, you know, you would imagine there'd be like some signs or something right there, especially since this is at the mall where there could be like, I don't know, people driving all over the place. You don't want them to wreck that bad. But when it gets worse, it's also hundreds of feet down. I don't know if Cyraxx knows this, but that is a long, long ways down. Far longer than I would expect him to have actually have fell. At this point, I'm starting to think it was just like a small little bump that he tripped over as he was walking through the parking lot. But yeah, all right. It was a hill. We'll still keep we'll keep his word. It was just a hill, but it certainly wasn't hundreds of feet. And it was so long, guys, that he was somehow able to anime dialogue during this. He was able to contemplate his entire background. He was able to coach himself through exactly what was going to happen. And even for a moment, some higher powers came to Cyraxx and was like, listen, this is a pretty rough fall you're about to take, buddy, but trust me, your story is not over. John and William, not done with you yet. You gotta keep going for now. We'll see you later, pal. And still mid-fall. Don't forget, guys, we are still mid-fall at this moment. This is how long it's taking. Cyraxx is also able to completely lose consciousness during this. How? Most humans wouldn't. I would say at least 99% of the population. But Rax over here, you know, it was such a jarring moment. He's been out of the house so little. In fact, I'm surprised he was able to make it to the Uber, not only to because he had to find his way to it, because as soon as he stepped out, the sun, I mean, that had to be horrible. Cyraxx has done so little. It was such a shocking event to trip over and take an actual long fall. It would just overwhelmed his system. Thank goodness the officer was there. And if that mall was in the Akron area, he for sure has dealt with Cyraxx in the past, and he definitely thought he was having like some sleep paralysis dream come true. He was like, pinch me, am I awake? He's like, oh my goodness, I am awake. What is Cyraxx doing out of his house? Well, I better go see what's going on. I don't really have another opportunity to arrest him like this again. He walks up to Cyraxx and somehow he's not doing anything wrong. And the guy just feels terrible for him. You know, Cyraxx had to look pitiful out there. Cyraxx gave him the same 7-year story that he gave the security guards. And the guy was like, here, man. Here's $5. Will you please just leave me alone? And Cyraxx, he went on with his day. The guy was so happy he didn't have to deal with Rax again until the next house call. And Rax got on the bus. And thank goodness for that cop, because on that bus ride, Cyraxx, of all things that could have happened, meets some fans. Meets some really, really big fans of his. You guys know that huge fan base that he has? Well, he met some of them, and these were very nice people. They gave him Mjolnir, and he was able to get home safely because of them. If it wasn't for those great people, Cyrax doesn't know what he would have done. But still, yeah, he had to run a mile and a half. Oh, and I don't want to forget to mention, like, these were probably fake. Like, that story was most likely made up. I kind of remember Cyrax telling this story before and him saying it was an elderly couple who was just really nice to him. I don't remember the fan part, but that's just off my memory. Don't take my word for it. We'll go along with what Cyrax is saying, and you can deconstruct it from there. I am, personally. I don't think they were fans at all. They might have gave him Mjolnir because they was like, let's give him this. He is not having a very good day, but I certainly don't know if they're fans. But either way, he gets off at the bus stop, and I'm starting to think he got off at the wrong one somehow. He didn't know exactly where he lived, because he had to run a mile and a half, apparently, and this is like Cyrax's idea of outside. You know, a couple of feet is probably a mile and a half away from his house, and he was just so tuckered out afterwards, and then just bawling in tears. You know he was crying on the bus. He flops down in the middle of the floor and barely crawls himself up to the attic. You know Sally and Ed were scolding him the entire time. Well, Sally was just happy to see him home. Apparently she put a missing persons report out for him. That's probably why she was yelling at him. He shouldn't be giving Sally such a scare. But anyhow, he wanders off and passes out. Now, I want to remind you guys, Cyrax thinks Cassandra is in a very bad situation right now. Like, she is in trouble. So what has he done in the past 3 or 4 hours besides run around in the mall, call everyone else but the police, and when he sees the police officer outside, he doesn't even really hammer it home. He tells his story and begs him to get him to his house. Like, what? And then when he wakes up, that's when he starts his real investigation. No authorities contacted, just crying to mom. That's all that really happened. And he was such a mess that one of the buddy trolls who was in on the joke when he jumps back on call was like, listen, Cyrax, I've got some very bad news for you. But Cassandra isn't real, which I also think messed up like something John had going on, but I'm not too positive about that. But yeah, they tell Cyrax that Cassandra isn't real, that nothing happened to her, and now Cyrax hates Cassandra. What an emotional roller coaster Cyrax has been on it, and what a video that you guys have watched. Thank you guys all so much for being here. I know it's been a very long one, but I guess this is where we're going to end it today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, follow all the socials down below, use the new hype feature, comment, and I'll catch you guys next time.